First, we start as a self-introduction. May I request to the President, sir, to start self-introduction.
Myself, Himanshu Bodawala, President, the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I welcome our today's esteemed speaker, Dr. Dhruven Shah.
Myself, Ramesh Vagasia, President-elect, the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Fortunately and incidentally, I am the tax practitioner also. Very good.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Bhavesh Tiller, Honorary Secretary for Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you. Welcome to all.
Hello everyone, myself Vijay Mewala, President-elect VP SDCCI.
Myself B.S. Agrawal, past President SDCCI.
Hello, good evening. I am CA Dharmesh Chamakowala, Co-Chairman of Income Tax Committee SGCCI.
Hello, I am CA Kishore R. Giwala. I am Co-Chairman of Income Tax Committee of SGCCI.
Myself, Dipesh Sakwala, Co-Chairman of Income Tax Committee, SGCCI. Thank you, sir. Good evening and warm welcome all of you to join today's webinar on the subject of contemporary issues and recent changes in taxation of charitable trust under the Income Tax Act 1961. Taxation continues to be one of the predominant area of engagement for tax professional, especially nowadays. Provisions pertaining to charitable trust on alike SSC is constantly changing and update considering the needs of hours requiring professionals' help for complying with the same. One of the famous inspirational quote for Francis Bacon, he says that charity begins at home but should not end there. The essence of the above quote has been fully captured in the definition of the express charitable purpose and as envisaged in the Income Tax Act 1961. Under the Income Tax Act, a trust is considered as a charitable if its objects are directly to the benefit of the society at large, not for an individual and group for an individual. More specifically, Section 215 of the Income Tax Act 1961 defines the express charitable purpose. Owing to its aim of social development of the country, charitable trusts have received favored and preferential treatment in the Indian taxation law since 1886. The taxation of a charitable trust is governed by Chapter 3 of the Income Tax Act, which contains Section 11, 12, and 13. Section 12A, 12AA, and 12AB contains the provisions concerning registration and the registration process under the Income Tax Act. Section 11 and 12 contains the provisions concerning conditions to fulfill the charitable trust in order to claim exemptions from the Income Tax Act. The Section 13 stipulated the provisions concerning the trust which are not eligible for exemption under Section 11 and 12. With this word, I move to the agenda. I would like to share with you one famous inspirational quote, Francis of Assisi, where there is a charity and wisdom, there is neither fear nor ignorance. અર્થાત જ્યાં દાન અને શાનપણ છે ત્યાં ભય અને અજ્ઞાન નથી. With this famous quote, may I request to the President of SGCCI, Himanshu Bodawala, sir, please give a welcome address.
Thank you, Dipesh Bhai. Our today's webinar's esteemed speaker, Mr. Advocate Dr. Dhruven Shah, my colleague, President-elect of SGCCI, Ramesh Bhai Vagasia, Vice President-elect SGCCI, Vijay Bhai Mewala, Honorary Secretary Bhavesh Tiller, Past President B.S. Agrawal ji, Dharmesh Bhai Tamakuwala, Kishore Bhai Giwala, Dipesh Bhai Sakwala, and all the attendees present on the webinar. I warmly welcome all of you to this webinar. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar on the contemporary issues and recent changes in taxation of charitable trust. On behalf of the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I extend a warm welcome to our panel of experts and all the participants joining us today. Friends, Charitable trusts have always been an integral part of our society, playing a significant role in promoting social welfare and supporting various causes. However, with the ever-changing tax laws and regulations, it is imperative for charitable trusts to stay updated with the latest development to ensure compliances and maximize tax benefits. Through this webinar, we aim to provide valuable insights into the contemporary issues and recent changes in taxation that impacts charitable trust. Our panel of experts will share their knowledge and expertise on the subject matter, providing you with a comprehensive understanding of the current tax laws and their implications. Friends, at SGCCI, we believe that knowledge sharing and collaboration are critical for achieving progress and growth. I encourage you all to participate actively in the discussion, share your thoughts and ideas, and learn from each other's experience. Once again, I extend my warm welcome to everyone and hope that you find this webinar informative and valuable. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Thank you very much, and once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thanks, President sir, for your kind words about welcome address. Now, second, I would like to share with you second one famous quote: helps other without any reasons and give without the expectation of receiving anything in the return. અર્થાત કોઈ પણ કારણ વગર બીજાને મદદ કરો અને બદલામાં કંઈ પણ મેળવવાની અપેક્ષા વગર આપો. With this famous quote, may I request to the Vice President of SGCCI, Ramesh Vagasia sir, please to give opening remarks.
Thank you, Dimesh bhai. Thank you very much. Along with our president, I would like to welcome all of you in the dais and in audience in Zoom meeting, all interested participants. This is the subject on which now entire country is focusing and would like to make aware oneself, and which how many changes are going to be taking place, and some changes have been made rigorously, which needs a focus and specific interest in the interest of the charitable activities undergoing in the world. Many changes and tax regime has been made currently, which needs to be addressed in the interest of the activities and for the betterment of the social health of the country also. And that's why this seminar has been arranged. I think and I wish that all will be benefited by the learned and knowledgeable address by our speaker, Honorable Speaker Dhruven Shah. I hope we will be full of the knowledge and solution of the queries we have in our mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President sir, for your kind words about opening remarks. I would like to share with you third one famous quote. Mother Teresa says, love is not patronize. Charity is not about pity. It's about love. Charity and love are the same. With charity, you give love. So don't just give money, but reach out your hand instead. અર્થાત પ્રેમ સમર્થન નથી, દાન દયા વિશેષ નથી, તે પ્રેમ વિશેષ છે. દાન અને પ્રેમ સમાન છે. તેમ પ્રેમ આપો છો તેમ દાન સાથે તેથી માત્ર પૈસા ન આપો, તેના બદલે તમારો હાથ આગળ કરો. With this quote, now may I request to the SGCCI Income Tax Committee, CA Kishore Giwala sir, please to say about the webinar.
Thank you, Dipesh bhai. The learned speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Dhruven Shah, the office bearers of the bodies organizing this webinar, and the delegates. Good evening to all. Well, friends, the NGOs have been playing a pivotal role in our society because they are working as a key role for the overall social welfare of the society. It is true that the government is also striving for the social welfare and the people at large. But the fact also remains that the government on its own alone cannot do the mammoth task that is ahead of all of us. And therefore, the NGOs are very crucial and important in the functioning of the society to carry out the overall social welfare of the society. It is in this context that the government is also very lenient in its view and approach towards these NGOs in the form of charitable trusts and institutions, that it has been government has provided exemption from income tax on the incomes of the trust right from the beginning. But of late, there appears to be a change and very big shift and change in the government thinking and approach towards these NGOs. And that is getting reflected in the recent changes that have been brought about in the last 3-4 years budgets. If one looks at the amendments that have been carried out in last 3-4 years budgets, one finds that the exemption that was available to these charitable trusts and NGOs so leniently, the conditions thereof have been made more and more strict, and the provisions have been made very specific. The provisions of Section 10 or Section 11, they have been amended exhaustively. Not only this, as if this was not enough for us, even the Honorable Supreme Court has also delivered quite important judgments recently. And the general consensus is that the people feel that the settled law so far in relation to these charitable trusts has become unsettled because of these Supreme Court pronouncements. So in this context, we feel that this is the right time that we should take the stock of the situation, and we should take and we update on the latest developments in the taxation of charitable trust. And it was in this context that we have all these bodies have joined their hands together and have held this webinar. I congratulate all the bodies for holding this webinar in such a timely manner. Thank you all.
Thanks, Co-Chairman of Income Tax Committee, sir, for your kind words about webinar. I would like to quote one famous quote. Warren Buffett says, if you are in the luckiest 1% of the humanity, you owe it the rest of humanity to think about other 99%. જો તમે માનવતાના 1% ભાગ્યશાળી છો, તો બાકીના 99% વિશે વિચારવા માટે તમારા બાકીના માનવતાના ઋણી છો. With this word, may I request to the co-chairman of SGCCI Income Tax Committee, Advocate Anil Shah, sir, please introduction of today's learned speaker, Advocate Dr. Dhruven Shah, sir. Please, sir. Anil Shah, sir, please unmute. Unmute. Sir, please unmute.
Friends, our association is the most active association and pioneer in the field of webinar and has organized more than 70 webinars, and credit goes to Chamber of Commerce and all other associations. I, on behalf of the Southern Gujarat Income Tax Bar Association, heartily welcome our today's speaker, Sri Dhruven Shah, for sparing his valuable time to enlighten us. He is so generous that he immediately accepted our invitation to address us. He is coming third time to Surat. I from bottom of my heart thank him for his generosity. It gives me great pleasure to introduce before you our worthy speaker, Sri Dhruven Shah. Sri Dhruven Shah is advocate and notary, and he is become MCom, MBA, LLM, and PhD in law. His area of practice is trust, corporate, and income tax. He was president of All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultants. At that time, he was the youngest president. He was president of the Income Tax Bar Association. He is member of Board of Governance of renowned University of Gujarat, Indus University. His regular lectures are on ETV, Sandesh, GTPL since last 15 years. He has written various articles and panel discussion with many professional bodies and social bodies on trust and budget analysis. He has delivered many lectures in various seminars and conferences. On academic front, his contributions are He is visiting faculty at Dalia Institute of Management, postgraduate diploma in taxation by Gujarat University, GPSC and UPSC courses by Gujarat University. Recently, he has been awarded PhD degree by Gokul Global University. Friends, as our associate, as Sri learned speaker Sri Dhruven Bhai has accepted our invitation third time, I offer a શાયરી dedicated to him. હૃદયની લાગણીઓને કોઈ નામ નથી હોતા. હૃદયની લાગણીઓને કોઈ નામ નથી હોતા. પ્રેમના આવેગને કોઈ ઇનામ નથી હોતા. અને ચાહતના આગમનને કોઈ पैगाम નથી હોતા. With these words, I introduce before you our learned speaker Sri Dhruven Shah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, co-chairman of Income Tax Committee, sir. Kind words about the introduction of today's learned speaker, Advocate Dr. Dhruven Shah, sir. Sir, floor is yours up to 6:45 p.m. and then after the question answer sessions. Sir, please.
Good evening, one and all. Let me take this opportunity to express my view on the contemporary issues and the recent changes in the taxation of the public charitable trust. First of all, on outside, I must congratulate the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the supporting association of the various body of the state of Gujarat. Sri Vansubhai Bodiwala, President of Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Rameshbhai Vagasia is a tax professional. The tax committee, esteemed members of the tax committee, Kishore Bhai, Dharmesh Bhai and Dipesh Bhai. All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant President Sri Hiren Bhai Vakil. Then Chartered Accountant Association C.A. Lalit Hirparaji. Society for Taxation Analysis Advocate Dr. Avinash Podarji and Mayur Desai ji. Then Dhruvin Mehta, President Emeritus Dhireshti Sasar, and the representative of the Federation at Surat, Anil Bhai and Kulin Bhai. The time allotted to me 6:45, I think, so I deal with probably maybe a half of the section of 11. Very difficult to discuss on the part of the public charitable trust. However, I will cover up the burning issue and I also love to address the concerns from the stakeholders and the end of the Chamber of Commerce. In a lighter way, Dipesh bhaiye je badi વાત કરી ને એમને જે બધા સરસ કોટ કીધા, પણ આ બધા કોટ મારા લેક્ચર પછી કદાચ બહુ એની ઇમ્પેક્ટ ડિફરન્ટ રીતે આવશે મને એવું લાગે છે. જેમ કિશોરભાઈએ વાત કરી કે બહુ જ 2016 થી જેટલા ચેન્જીસ આવી રહ્યા છે બજેટની અંદર અને જે રીતે પબ્લિક ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટના ટેક્સેશનની જ્યારે વાત કરીએ તો I completely endorse the view of that expressed by my learned colleague Kishore Bhai and Dipesh Bhai, saying that nowadays the taxation of charitable trust is quite difficult to manage the affairs. Though it is a charity, but the charity begins from home, that is true. But with the conscious mind, with the compliance behavior, and with the law binding, looking to the day-to-day changes in concern to the Bombay Public Trust Act, Income Tax Act, and FCR Act. All three acts, corresponding acts, are very serious impact in day-to-day management. Those who are a trustee should not be like take pride as being a trustee, but discharging a duty of the trustee is quite difficult nowadays. Not taking much time on some preamble of the public charitable trust and taxation, let us directly come on the recent changes and the contemporary issues in taxation of the public charitable trust. My screen is visible? Yeah. Okay, fine. Like going in the very 3 to 5 minutes about the basic concept why trust and society. India has a long history of the civil society based on in concept of dana seva, that is a donation and service, has long established tradition of the charitable engagement. Moreover, the Bhagavad Gita slok 18.6, Lord Krishna says, act of sacrifice, charity, and like this, that also covered since the ancient in Bhagavad Gita slok. Further, no matter how strong self-sufficient government is, the corona and then earthquake and natural calamities witnesses the role and responsibility of the public charitable trust, society, NPO, NGO, and the PPP mode public welfare activity at large. So the traditionally civilized society, their respective of caste and customs, perform the act of charity, but in unrecognized manner. Therefore, get this group organize various trusts and society acts were enacted at national as well as the state level. The Income Tax Act is a central, and FCRA is also central. The Society Registration Act is also central, but the corresponding act state is the Gujarat Public Trust Act. That is a state level act. That is also a monitoring authority for the day-to-day affairs of the public charitable trust. Now coming on the, what do you mean by the voluntarism? I'm just not taking too much time, but be the change you wish to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi said that, and well said, the voluntarism always, charity begins from home, and it's a hope in the lives of the people. Charity in the different religion is concerned. This was a beginnery concept and the development in a different religions. Zakat, then Dan in Hinduism, and Kar Seva in Sikh, and Sadak in Islam. So these are the word charity since long in the various religion following since many years in India. Now this is the development of the NGO and NPO. I just point out the word is NGO stands for the non-government organization, NPO stands for the non-profit organization, and trust stands for the public charitable trust. I'm talking about the public charitable trust. It's not private charitable trust. The taxation of private charitable trust is a different issue, but presently we are talking about the public charitable trust. As we see that the NGO includes the foundation, charitable trust, institutions, college, hospital, religious institute, service club, association, even chamber of commerce, and the professional association, sports association, welfare, non-profit organization, samiti, committee, civil society. These all are the basically form of the NGO. History and background in NGO, as I told that this is a philanthropic concept. Constructions of temples, dharamsala, shramdan, andan, vastradan, gnandan. Narendra Modi is emphasized nowadays gnandan and skill development. That is also a charity. Constitutional framework, why charity, how it began, how the act preamble, how it was established, with what concept and what is the intention of the legislator. So Article 19(1) is very clear about the charities and charitable institutions, and entry number 28 more specifically, and entry number 10 up in the concurrent list that covers the charitable and charitable institution. Now the different legislations in the India is Indian Trust Act, Charitable Religious Act, Endowment Act, Society Registration, Income Tax Act, Companies Act, FCRA, and the Bombay Public Trust Act. Now in Gujarat, it's a Gujarat Public Trust Act. And there are so many various state acts that's connecting with the legislations for the trust. Before going into issues, let us understand what is the difference between the society, trust, and company, because many times we came across only public charitable trust. But this section, we are not talking about section 8 and the previous section 25 company and the society registered and established under section 8060. So these are the various act, column number 1. Then what about the ease of formation? Simply it will take 2 to 3 months down the line in the public charitable trust. Authority is the district level of the charity commissioner or assistant or the deputy charity commissioner. name of approval nowadays is very difficult to get the name even in the public charitable trust. If it is the name is connecting with the nation or maybe some state government or maybe a central government or maybe any department of the various authority, the name must have some significant relevance with the object of the trust. So it's not easy nowadays to get it the name of the public charitable trust. Similar the provisions in the Company Act also. Minimum number of trustees, as I told that the society is required to 7 or more person. That's why it says 7 is minimum. Trust is covered under the Contract Act, and that's why it's 2 parties minimum, and company is also for a 2. Voting rights, I'm not going to deal with this. Then type of activities, all kind of charitable activities, religious also activity to be carried out in the public charitable trust. Annual documents in Bombay Public Trust Act, you required for the annual accounts as well as in income tax. So many statutory compliances of various form as well as the ITR and everything. And in ROC, annual return, audited accounts, and all the formalities under the Companies Act is concerned. Then membership transferable or not? Yes, membership is not transferable in the society is concerned. And also equally with the same on the Bombay Public Trust Act is concerned. Place of functions, then compliance of expenditure, area of operation, FCRA, prior permissions, labor and other relevancies, foreigner as a member of trustees. Sometimes this question may arise whether this foreigner is eligible for the trustee in the public charitable trust. In my opinion, not possible, because foreigners are not entitled to be a trustee in the public charitable trust. But yes, in case of a society or ROC, you may take a foreigner as a trustee on your board. Now, the commencement since last 16 to 23, the journey since 2016 to 2023, I must say that there are many tremendous changes, rather I must say draconian changes since 2016 to 2023. If you're talking about the 2016, there was a excise tax on accredited income. In 2017, mandatory filing of the return and the change in object is concerned. Then restrictions on the cash donation and restrictions on the corpus. In 2018, TDS provisions and the payment in cash, that is also restricted. In 2019, another way of 12AA of registration and cancellation of registration. 2022, 2020, that is a registration and new registration. 12AB with effect from 2021 and that prolonged by another days and month. In 2021, restriction on the corpus donation, repayment of loan not to treated as a application. No carry forward of losses is concerned, or maybe the excess of expenditure, and the new compliances for donation, as you are aware, from number 10 BD. So these are the corresponding sections of section 215, 1023C, 11, 12, 12A, 12A, AB 13 and 115. These are the major 9 sections is covering the taxation of the public charitable trust. Now, looking for the difference between the voluntary contributions, because these are very important to determine the taxations on the liability of the income is concerned. So first understand what do you mean by the voluntary contribution with the specific direction and without specific direction. As I've been told that I should use these conversations of my presentation in English and Gujarati, because some of the stakeholders also from the public charitable trust. So I'm not going into too much integrity of the language of sections and notifications and some various circulars of the CBDT. So direction to constitute the corpus donation, or corpus donation always have a specific direction, and there should be a direction from the donor to the donor. This point questions raised in many occasions during the course of the assessment proceeding, whether you have obtained the specific directions from the donor for the corpus of the fund or not, because we are generally accepting a corpus donation, issuing a receipt, and in receipt we are mentioning towards the some building fund. I believe personally that that is not suffice, but you have to take a written consent, rather use the written intention of the donation from the donor for the utilization of the fund. In voluntary contribution, there are no direction from the donor to donee to be done. Specific purpose, there is a direction. Direction may be for a specific purpose toward a corpus. The purpose should be also significant, not for the general purpose. It is a character of the capital receipts. See, the meaning of the capital receipt that we are directly transacted this amount in the balance sheet and showing this in the reserve or in surplus. And that's why the levy of taxation does not arise in that case, because as in nature of a capital receipt. So the entire income of the corpus is specifically exempted under section 11(1)(d) of Income Tax Act. Accumulation provisions that we are aware about, that we need to make it in a manner specified under section 11(5) of the Income Tax Act 1961 as well as section 35 of the Gujarat Public Trust Act. Now this is another one, I must say is a welcome proposal for the maintenance of the books of accounts for the NGO. Why? Because every time in assessment proceeding, they were calling upon certain documents, records, statements, and ledger copy and the cross confirmations and other materials on which you rely on. As we are aware that the maintenance of books of accounts for business is specifically deal with section 44AA and audit under section 44AB. Now for the public charitable trust, it was first time introduced the maintenance of the books of accounts. But we need to understand what kind of books of account we supposed to maintain. જો તમે તમારા ક્લાયન્ટ્સ ને કે કોઈ ટ્રસ્ટના ટ્રસ્ટીઓ જો બુક્સ ઓફ એકાઉન્ટ્સ મેન્ટેન ન કરતા હોય તો બુક્સ ઓફ એકાઉન્ટ્સ મેન્ટેન કરવા ફરજિયાત છે, અને જો મેન્ટેન ન કરો તો શું થઈ શકે એ આપણે નેક્સ્ટ સ્લાઇડમાં જોઈશું. In Finance Act 2022 amended a section 12A and 1023C to provide where total income of the trust or institution under both the regime without giving the effect of 1023C, 11 and 12. See, when we are talking about the exemption, then two type of exemption. One fall under 1023C, that's talking about the institutions, and the public charitable trust is concerned, that falls under section 11(12) for the exemption is concerned. That shall keep the maintain the books of account and other document in such form and manner and at the place. See, the word is and at such a place as may be prescribed. They have already prescribed the list of the books of accounts and other relevant documents. But two things I just emphasize. One is the books of account. The word is and other documents. So the maintenance of books of account is not suffix. But moreover, you have to maintain the other document. Moreover, you have to maintain at the such place. Means the place is registered place of the public charitable trust. There are also so many confusion. Activities carried out in some other different location. The project is going to carry out some other different location. And the registered office of the trust may be at office of the chairman or maybe a president or maybe at the institute. Then on which place the books of accounts and other document is supposed to keep in order to compliance of the books of account is concerned, Rule 70AA. Now, every fund or institute or a trust, any university or other educational institute or any hospital or medical institute is required to maintain the following books of accounts and other documents. So many questions arising in the point of keeping the books of account. Some educational institute believe that they are having an exemption for not to keep or maintain the books of accounts. But I just clarify, section 1023C also covered under rule 17A for the maintenance of books of account. So books of account includes the cash book, ledger, journal, copies of bills, original bills, and then other books may required for maintain to give a true and fair view. The last interpretation is exhaustive and covering so many statements, records, documents, vouchers, bills, and some evidences. So the books of accounts for business undertaking and business carried on SSC other than business undertaking referred in section 11.4. What do you mean by the other documents for maintaining the documents moreover than books of accounts? So record of all projects and institutions run by the person, then containing the details of name, address, and objectives, record of income, of voluntary contribution, details of donor, income of property, then record in respect to the application in India, outside India, deem applications, accumulated or a set apart, money invested in specified mode, then record of voluntary contribution received and its application, records of loans and borrowings. See, the records of loans and borrowings is very relevant because the form number 10B and BB, that also covers these transactions of the loans and borrowings. So we need to keep and maintain all the records, record of properties held by the trust, record of a specified person. We'll definitely talk about the loans and borrowing and specified persons later on in my slide. The books of accounts and other documents may be kept in written form or in an electronic form or in a digital form or as printouts of data stored digitally. The books of accounts and other documents shall be kept and maintained by the entities at their registered office. Registered office means is not office of the accountant, it's not office of the chartered accountant, or not office of the tax consultant. Keep in mind one thing, very clearly mentioned, shall be kept and maintained by the entities at their registered office. Many occasions, trustees like having a same casual view that my accountant is having some all digital data at his residence or at his place. So there is a violations in that context. However, books of account may another place if management decide to do so by passing a resolution. Yes, you may keep these some other places, either on the place of activity or some other places of different offices in case of entities. So you may keep at any place, one place by passing such a resolution. But resolution is also required to intimate to the jurisdictional assessing officer. We will take this matter also later on. The books of account and other documents shall be kept and maintained for a period of 10 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. Many occasions, the questions in respect to the record to be maintained for how many years or how long, because income taxes is 4 year, 5 year, then 8 year. Then what about in case of the books of accounts for the particularly maintained by the public charitable trust? So please keep in mind one thing, 10 years. Even in my opinion, if some litigation going on before any forum, you have to.
Sorry to disturb you.
Please.
પણ ધ્રુવીનભાઈ, આપણે જે સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટનું જજમેન્ટ છે ને એની ટેક્સેબિલિટીની વાત વધારે કરવી છે, કારણ કે એ અમને બહુ સ્પર્શે છે બધાને, એટલે આપણે ટેક્સેબિલિટી પર જો થાય તો વધારે સારું.
That I have taken contemporary issues on the taxabilities later on. I will just going through the recent amendments of the in public charitable trust. Should we continue? Should I continue or should I going fast?
Continue, sir.
Okay, fine. Then consequence for non-maintenance. This is very important provision just I need to take up because litigations તો જ્યારે આવે ત્યારે પણ તમે આ બધું જો મેન્ટેન કરશો તો litigation જ નહીં આવે. Litigation also that I am covering a later on part. A consequence for non-maintenance, the benefit of section 1112 not available means everything is over. No basic exemption, 15%, no corpus donation, no benefit and anything. Now amendment to section 11.3 regarding the consequence of violation of section 11.2. What about the pre-amendment law? Accumulated income that we need to utilize within 5 years and then later on taxability on 6th year. Now the changes is on the completions of the 5 year itself. These are the changes of section 11.2. We are like keeping the fund under section 11.2 and investing in 11.5. If it is not utilized in 5 years, then itself is taxable in year of 5. Now amendment in provision relating to cancellation of registration of a charitable institutions. Now in what is the pre-amendment law is concerned, the registration could be cancelled in any of the following circumstances: not genuine or not carried out in accordance with the object. And 13.1 is deal with the withdrawal of the exemption or the cancellations in all the ways of section 11 and 12. So the amendment in respect to that this specified violation also covered in this, not only the looking to the genuineness of activity or not carried out in accordance with the object, but also specified violations that they were covered. What do you mean by the specified violations? There was specifically concerns about the specified violations in respect to the amendment. Income or institution has applied outside its object. Please keep in mind one thing: just before spending something on activity of trust, just ensure about the object mentions in the public trust or maybe in a memorandum. Do not jump on the simple activity with either individually or with the jointly, because if it is spent other than the object, then it considered as a specified violation and later on this may impact on some 11 exemption in 11 and 12. If an institution earn profit and gains from business which is not incidental to the attainment of the objectives, separate books of accounts are not maintained, as I told, that is a specified violations. The institution has applied any part of income to the private religious purpose which does not ensure for the benefit of the public. That is also a very larger interpretations of the private religious purpose and not for the benefit of the general public. So these are the activity institution is not genuine, not carried in accordance with the object or not with the subject matter, not complied the requirements of any other law for time being enforced. I would like to draw attention this clause particularly if you fail to supply the annual report under the Bombay Public Trust Act, that also covered by this section, and they may deny this also considered as a specified violation. So failing which to comply with other law also covered by this clause of the specified violation. Now the substitutions of the second proviso of 143 I will take later on this part. Penalty for benefit to interested person, I will also deal with what do you mean by the interested person and how to deal with section 271 AEE. Pre-amendment law says that no separate penalty for the violation of 13.1C. Now the that covered. Application will be allowed only when it is actually paid. In so many cases we came across that many accountants or maybe we the professionals keeping provisions and debiting the profit and loss account, income and expenditure account, saying that this is an unpaid expenditure, and we booked in the books of account and showing in income tax expenditure. This is not possible now. Previously, yes, it was. Applications will be allowed only when it actually paid, irrespective of the method of accounting followed by the SSE. What is the pre-amendment law? Income is exempt to the extent of applications. Court and tribunals have held that the following expenditures are applicable of income: expenditure incurred but not paid before the year end, sub end market fund allocated for the purpose of trust, and expenses otherwise specified under section 43B. There is a similar provision as in accordance with the section 43B, payment made on the actual basis only. If you fail to make a payment in this financial year, and if you are going to pay the same for the next financial year, you may take such a benefit for the next financial year, not for this financial year. So any sum payable shall be considered as an application of income only in the year in which the sum is actually paid. As I told, કે જો આ વર્ષમાં પેમેન્ટ થયું હોય તો આ વર્ષમાં, અધરવાઇઝ આવતા વર્ષે પેમેન્ટ થતું હોય તો એ જ રકમ તમે આવતા વર્ષે પણ ક્લેમ કરી શકો છો. Then some of the illustration I just point out that this may be some teething problem for all. Salary for the March, unpaid expenditure, employer contribution to provident fund for March, audit fees. My professional brother just take this point, audit fees. We always have a normal tendency to provisions in month of March and claiming audit fees and income and expenditure. Nowadays you cannot raise your bill before 31st March, get the fees by way of કે તમે પેમેન્ટ ચૂકવશો તો જ તમને બાદ મળશે. હું માનો ત્યાં સુધી ઘણું બધું કલેક્શન આવી જશે. Unpaid TDS and payment in March, bonus to employees. These are the some examples putting for the transactions of every March. Now, explanation to 11 versus 43B, as I told, the same corresponding effect. Amendment to provision relating to the benefit of interest rates. See, these are very important because sometimes we are offering our family members or the interested persons at the lower rate of services. Putting that example, if the trust is running a medical pathology lab, if the trust is offering 20% discount to his wife, then in that case, whether it is a violation or not, or whether it is covered under the interested person or not. So before pre-amendment law, exemption under 11(12) denied if benefit given to interested persons listed in section 13(3). Now, these are the list that taking out in the last slide. So that is a violation. 115 not taking this, exit tax also not dealing with this. Yes, due date for the filing form number 9A. That is very important because these are the changes applicable for this assessment year. Benefit of deemed application not available if form number 9A not filed before the due date of filing of return. That was the pre-amendment law. What says with effect from assessment year 23-24, the amendment in respect to form number 9A to be filled at least 2 months before the due date of filing of return of income. That's 31st August. Please keep in mind one thing, okay, you need to furnish for the assessment year 2023-T4 on or before 31st August. In case if you fail to comply in a 9A before the due date, then what will be the circumstances? There are provision of section 1192B where it is corresponding with the delay condonations, and the power vested with the Commissioner and CCIT and PCIT as latest circular of 11 July 2022. Definitely there are many occasions or the circumstances we may face in future if we not file the 31st before the 31st August. Similar also applicable with the 10B. There are so many questions in relation to the delay in filing a audit report in form number 10B. I'm coming on that part. Can form number 9A be revised to align it with the amount in ROI and form number 10B and 10BB? So in my opinion, there is no specifically provisions about the revision of application, but yes, in a general principle, and looking to the delay condonation and the circular of the CBDT for the granting of delay condonation. Form number 9A, 10 and 10B also covered for the condonation of delay is concerned. So we are covering in this part. Now form number, due date of filing of form number 10, as I told, it is similar provision of 9A, so I'm not going and deal with. Again, the one point I need to mention, because as my professional brother is also here, section 39 need to be changed, because at present 39 provides that the benefit of the secondary accumulation for 5 years under section 11.2 is not available if return of income not filed before due date. I think so it required to be changed, because now form number 10 is required to furnish at least 2 months before the due date. Then how section 39 they have not changed? It's very surprising for me, but I think so we will definitely have some changes in 39 very soon. Donation to another charitable institution to be allowed to the extent of 85%. Before that, charity, inter-charity donation, one charity to another charity, whether it is an application of income under section 11 or not. So it was clear earlier than the applications from one charity to another charity, provided that having a same or similar object and out of the corpus fund, if we transfer the fund from one institute to another institute. Now they come up with the things, okay, it should not be for 100%, but it is restricted to 85%. The logic is why they have changed in section, particularly for the 80% instead of 100%. ઘણા બધા વ્યક્તિઓ આવકને બધી અલગ અલગ ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટમાં ડિફરન્શિએટ કરી દેતા હતા, અને જે 15% નો જે બેઝિક લાભ મળતો હતો એ દરેક ડિફરન્ટ ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટમાં લઈ લેતા હતા. એનાથી રેવન્યુ લોસ જતી હતી, અને આ ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન્સ ઓડિટ દરમિયાન આવ્યું કે જો આ બધા જ ઇન્કમને ડિફરન્ટ ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટમાં બાયફર્કેટ કરી દઈએ તો 15% નો લાભ બધા ટ્રસ્ટને મળે છે. જો ખરેખર એક જ ટ્રસ્ટમાં મળ્યો હોત તો 15% નો લાભ કદાચ ન મળ્યો હોત. એ પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂ, અને એઝ વેલ એઝ when 15% is a straight way under 11 is out of the box from the taxability of the public charitable trust. So definitely this is, I think so, is a settled position of law. Change in time limit for furnishing a return of income claiming exemption within time. जो income tax નું return within the time, within the due date માં ન થાય તો એના complications શું થાય? The pre-amendment law says that if ROI was not furnished within the time under section 139, exemption under section 11 and 12 was not available. Moreover, the section 139(8)(a) that provides the option to taxpayer to furnish a updated return up to 2 years from the end of the assessment year. Now there is a chaos for the updated return and the original return not furnished before the time. So whether section 11 and 12 exemptions available or not. So the point they have clarified in this budget, exemption could not be denied if the original ROI not filed within the specified time, but updated ROI was filed. Now they deal with this specifically in amendment 2023-24. The provision of section 11 and 12 shall apply only if ROI is furnished within the time allowed under section 139(1) or 139(4). Means they have completely, this option is available for the updated return. But if you furnish the updated return, in that case, you will not get any exemption under section 11 and 12. So they have clarified that updated return is, you may opt the option, but so far as the exemption under section 11 and 12 is concerned, you will not entitled to get it. Now change in time limit for furnishing a return for claiming exemption within a time. As I told, the main difference of the ROI of the updated return, time limit and conditions for the treating a repayment of loans and application of income. What is the pre-amendment law? Any amount utilized from loan or borrowing was not be treated as an application of income at the time of utilizing, or any repayment of such loan or borrowing shall be treated as an application of income. No time specified for the repayment of such borrowing, or no condition for the repayment treated as application of income. Now, what they have amended, conditions similarly for those treating a restoring a corpus as application of income. Repayment of loan beyond 5 years from the end of the financial year in which application was made out of loan will not be allowed as application of income. These are the major changes that they have carried out for the assessment year 23 and 24. Changes in registrations condition for unregistered institutions. I think so. You must have a query in that point particularly. Those trusts registered under section 12A or 12AA in earlier regime, and those who have not opted a registration of new regime under section 12AB, and they have already commenced their activity, then how it consider as a 6 month for the commencement of activities, the point is concerned. They have clarified this, but I need to draw your all attentions for the pre-amendment and the post-amendment law is concerned. What we were doing, provisional registration available to all institutions which were not registered under the old regime of 12(1) AC 5(6). Such provisional registration was required whether or not activities had commenced. Provisional registrations are issuing by the authority without verifications of the activity and without verifications of any single documents. Application for provisional registration required before the commencement of the previous year, that is a settled law. In a fresh application under section 12AB is concerned, provisional registration was granted without inquiries. Subsequent regular registration required upon earlier of the following at least 6 months prior to expiry of the provisional and within this 6 months from the commencement of activity. Those trusts established in year 1980, they have already started number of institutions. They have not obtained their 12AA. Now they are like willingly apply for the new regime of 12AB. Then in that circumstance, how it consider as a commencement of activity. So they have come up with the clarification with effective from 1st October 2023. What about before that? It's again a very much concern. Now provisional registration available only to unregistered institutions which have not commenced activity. That is in falling in particularly 6A. And if unregistered institution has commenced activity, it has to seek regular registration, that is falling in 6B for the 5 year and only upon the inquiries by the satisfaction of PCIT in particular section. Now, in tabular form, whether institution has commenced activity in earlier, then no, then whether change in procedure, then no. If it is the activity already commenced, so yes, he has to obtain a regular registration, but with effective from 1st October 2023. I welcome all the queries particular with this proposal of the amendment of particularly first effective from 1st October 2023 later on. Changes in section 80G. Donation to Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund, Indira Gandhi Memorial Fund and Rajiv Gandhi Foundation were exempt under section 80G. The aforesaid fund did not have to take specific approval under section 80G for being eligible institution under 80G. Now what the amendment for effective from 2024 and 25. Subclause deleted. Donation to above referred institutions will no longer be exempt under ATJ. See, make sure 3 funds that I am talking about, Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, and qualifying for exemption only if they obtain registration under section 12AB and approval under ATJ. They're effective from the 1st April 2023. Next is about the 11.1 and 11.1A. That is about the deduction that I'm not going because set off with Finance Act 2021, set off and carry forward not allowed. Submission of income tax return, I'm not going to deal with this. Denial of exemption where return of income is not furnished within time. Finance Act 2022 had inserted a subsection 8A of 139 Act where it had provided an option to taxpayer to furnish an updated return up to 2 years, as I told earlier. That is updated return. Now, finance will come up with the 2023. Section 11 and 12 of the Act shall be available only if return of income is filed within the time specified under section 139(1) and 139(4), not connected with the updated return under section 139(8)(a). So please just understand, if you want to get this exemption 11 and 12, furnish your return on or before the due date in a regular course or maybe in case of a belated return. This is applicable from the 1st April 2023. Submission of audit report is mandatory. Exemption under section 11 cannot be denied merely on bar of limitation. There are so many litigations on this point. Furnishing of audit report in form number 10B, whether it's a procedure aspect or the denial of under section 11 or 12 on ground of non-furnishing a audit report in prescribed form in form number 10B before the due date. Now, this is a recent judgment of Social Security Scheme of GICEA in 2023. Is recently came in April. What they have observed, the SSC Trust denial exemption under section 11 for the assessment year 16 and 17. The tax authority rejected the rectification application under section 150 and application of delay condonation filed under section 119. જ્યારે 10B ફોર્મ ન ભર્યું હોય તો 143(1) ની ઇન્ટિમેશનમાં ઓટો એડજસ્ટમેન્ટ થઈ જાય છે. 154 ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટ જ કરે છે, ઓટો એડજસ્ટ કરીને ડિમાન્ડ ઊભી કરી દે છે. ઘણા ટ્રસ્ટો એની સામે અપીલ કરે છે ઓર્ડરની સામે 154 માં. What appellate authority says that? કે ટ્રિબ્યુનલે શું ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન કર્યું? Furnishing a audit report along with a return of income was a mandatory procedural requirement. The tax authorities were expected to be equitable, balancing and judicious. The SSC was a public charitable trust, had been in existence for last 30 years and held that exemption under section 11 could not be denied merely on ground bar of limitation, more so when the legislator had confirmed the wide discretionary power to condone such a delay. CBDT has came up with the circulars since last 4-5 years about the granting of delay condonation. જો તમે 154 ના ડિમાન્ડ ઓર્ડરની સામે રેક્ટિફિકેશન ઓર્ડરની સામે ડિમાન્ડ જે ઊભી થઈ છે તેમાં જો 119 ની ડિલે કંડોનેશનની CIT ને કે PCIT ને જો તમે એપ્લિકેશન જ ન કરો તો એ મેટર ટ્રિબ્યુનલમાં ટકી શકે નહીં. એટલે ફર્સ્ટ ઓફ ઓલ ટ્રિબ્યુનલનું ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન એવું છે કે when you deal with first 119 to be go and condone your delay with some reasonable cause. હું ડિલે કંડોનેશન માટે આવી રહ્યો છું કે એમાં રીઝનેબલ કોઝ કેવી રીતે ગણવાનું ને શું આપણે રજૂઆત કરવાની છે. Form 10B ITR document required. Yesterday I had a meeting with other esteemed members of the various association with CIT Rajesh Kumarji. They have insisted this list for the 10B delay condonation applications. Application is writing with signed by trustee or authorized person, not authorized person in context of a chartered accountant or a tax consultant or a tax practitioner. if signed by chartered accountant, letter of authority and 300 rupees stamp. આપણે બહુ સિમ્પલી ઈમેલ કરી દઈએ છીએ ઓથોરિટીને કે આ મારું ડિલે કન્ડોનેશન છે, ગ્રાન્ટ કરી દો, ને એ પણ ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટના ઈમેલથી કરીએ છીએ. એમની સાથે ગઈકાલે ડિસ્કશન થયા પ્રમાણે એમની રજૂઆત એવી છે કે વાય ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટન્ટ, વાય નોટ એપ્લિકન્ટ. તો ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટન્ટ પોતાના ઈમેલથી કરે છે, સાથે સાથે એ ઓથોરિટી નથી મૂકતા, 300 રૂપીસના સ્ટેમ્પ્સ નથી મૂકતા, 12AA ના સર્ટિફિકેટ નથી મૂકતા, એમના ફાઇનાન્શિયલ રિપોર્ટ નથી મૂકતા. રિઝનેબલ કોસ્ટમાં એમને કાલે ઘણા બધા ઇન્સિડન્ટ હાઇલાઇટ કર્યા કે એકાઉન્ટન્ટ બીમાર હતો, 120 દિવસ સુધી બીમાર હતો. એમનું એવું કેવું છે કે જો આ ડિલે કન્ડોનેશન્સ રિઝનેબલ કોસ્ટમાં કેવી રીતે ફોલ આઉટ થાય, અને ધેટ ટુ વિધાઉટ એ મેડિકલ સર્ટિફિકેટ. ધીસ ઇઝ નોટ એ મિકેનિકલી. એટલે I suggest all my professional brothers that make sure while applications under for the delay condonation in respect to form number 10B, just make sure all this entire list along with your application. You may send it email to the concerned authority through the registered email of the trust, not by the chartered accountant or the tax practitioner. Then with circular applications to the SSC trust. That also we need to mention. Genuine hardship for delay in ITR. So many tax professionals or chartered accountant have mentioned that technical glitches, then OTP not verified, OTP not sent, not verified with the trustee, or maybe a part-time accountant left the job. I was under impression of that the chartered accountant has furnished. These are not fall under the genuine hardship. This is a normal FAQs that we are like putting out before day in out before the authority, but authority is very well aware okay, what is the genuine hardship. So in that circumstances, if you fail to furnish on or before due date, put it in a grievance first on that day okay, due to technical glitches we have not furnished this form number 10B or 9A or maybe a 10. Now next is another a landmark judgment in that point, running a guest house or a marriage hall will be considered a business if the SSC is engaged in education, medical relief and relief to the poor. In that particular case, the SSC used income from renting of guest house and marriage hall to fund its main object of education, medical relief and relief to poor. CIT appeal denied exemption under section 11 on ground that the activity of running a guest house and marriage was a business activity and which not integral to the main object. The SSC contended that the main object is an advancement of general public utility. What the tribunal, in light of the judgment of very well aware, you must go through this landmark judgment of New Noble Education Society, held running the guest house or marriage hall events including various type of arrangement like catering, decoration, running guest house by charging room wise rent could not be considered a charitable. Consequently, it was an activity in nature of business and the denial of exemption was justified. There are so many public charitable trusts running the community hall. I seen many of caste related public charitable trusts running that kind of a community hall or maybe a guest house or maybe some marriage hall, some functions for the other or maybe for their own. But just keep in mind one thing, this is the judgment in after the point of view of the New Noble. That is also the similar observation made in New Noble. Section 13(3), merely because of vehicle is a luxury car, should not be a reason for invoking a section 13(3). See, this is very clear. If the trust is running a big education institute and if he having a luxury car, can it be said the entire exemption is disallowed on ground of that you have a luxury car for the attainment of the objective of the educational? So the tribunal observed that in particular, that is also a recent judgment of 2023. I have covered all the recent judgment till 8 May 2023. So these all that I have covered, and these are the very landmark judgment and detailed observation that the Honorable Court has observed, the expenditure was to be allowed if it was incurred for purpose of running a school. The SSC had brought on record material to show that vehicle was being used by the principal and staff of the school, not by trustee, members or a board of the society. The AO had not brought any material in that context, and hence it was held that AO was unjustified to disallow expenditure merely because vehicle happened to be a luxury car. Unregistered charitable trust to be taxed as an AOP after allowing a deduction of expenditure. These questions also many times came across. If the public trust have no registration under section 12AB, then what will be the tax liability in that context? So in my opinion, this considered as a AOP, not as a public charitable trust. If you fail to register within the scope of section 12AB, otherwise in that case you have to file ITR 5 of AOP, and all the expenditure that you may claim as expenditure out of the income, and then the residue amount is liable for the tax as a AOP, not as a public charitable trust. So no questions about the exemption under section 11 and 12 in that case. That is also a judgment in year 2022. NAFC has observed this said, and 164, that is applicability particularly on ground of the taxation of the AOP is concerned. Now section 12A, if the original registrations is misplaced by the trust, this also many times in my webinar, this question is also very relevant, and many times the participant had raised. The SSC may file application for re-registration and obtain it with the retrospective effect. This judgment I need to point out very particularly the Jain Shwetambar Murti Pujak Fund Committee. This particular judgment is very important in absence of the loss of a original certificate. The SSC misplaced its original certificate of registration issued in 1973. That is very old. That is on section of 12A only. Submitted a request for a duplicate copy, CIT. CIT granted registration prospectively from the assessment in 1920, even though SSC had been regularly assessed as a registered trust since 1973. So these are the point that you may take the benefit of the same even in case of a loss of a original certificate. Section 1023C(6). This also very landmark judgment of the Supreme Court that is also in light of a new Noble Education Society. What the judgment says that section 1023C(6), profit of 67.81% before depreciation and after 44.48%. Then it is not for the solely for education and not for the purpose of profit. The SSC was engaged in activity of imparting education registered in 1023C. CIT found that earning a systematic profit after year by year and point out 67% and after and before depreciation, and held that the activity of the SSC cannot be considered as a solely for the imparting education, and that the SSC was indulging in a profit. The High Court decided the matter in favor of SSC, and Supreme Court says that no, it's a profiteering activity and cannot be construed as a. Supreme Court has accepted that the SSC was not solely engaged in the activity of education with respect to its submitter. This is a landmark judgment of 8 May 2023 of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur Education Trust Supreme Court. In New Noble, Supreme Court held that the SSC can be said that existing solely for the purpose of education only if all its objects are related to education. There is no discussion on this aspect, definitely, because it has settled by the solely word is settled by the New Noble or by the Honorable Supreme Court. And in light of the New Noble, another judgment of Baba Banda, if there is a profiteering activity, so those who are running the educational activity or having a charitable activity just ensured about the profitability if year by year, if there is a profit on the books of account and if reflecting in the your annual reports, definitely this assessing authority may invoke in light of these two judgments that cannot be considered as a charitable because you are actively engaged in the profiteering activity, and that cannot be construed as a charitable. Hence, the entire exams under section 11 and 12 is denied on that ground. Just make sure in that way. Denial of deduction under section 11 for late filing of form 10B, CIT to wait till disposal of the condonation of application. As I told earlier, જો તમારી condonation of delay pending હોય અને તમે સીધે સીધું ટ્રિબ્યુનલમાં તમારા ઓર્ડરને ચેલેન્જ કરો છો, તો ટ્રિબ્યુનલ કહે છે કે just go through the delay condonation application. There is no point to determine this at present when the matter is pending before the CIT for the applications in relation to the condonation of delay. Whether association is purely formed for the promotion of sports and has nothing to do with trade, commerce or business, and profit earning was not a prominent purpose, can AO invoke the provision of section 215 and decline the benefit? When there is a specific object of the sports, then there is no point of the declining of the section 11 and 12. That has been very well settled in Gujarat Cricket Association with Joint Commissioner Income Tax 2019. Filing of form number 9A and form number 10. I think so that I have covered that required for the accumulation of the fund is concerned, and the accumulated fund should be invested in accordance with the manner specified in 11.5. Form 9A and 10 should be filed at least 2 months prior. As I told you earlier, that the 9A and 10 is required to be furnished before 31st August. Revised form number 10 can be furnished before the completion of assessment. Yes, these are the apex court in Nagpur Hotel Owners Association by Supreme Court held that the aforesaid judgment is noticed to accumulated of income must be given to the AO before the assessment is completed. Belated થઈ શકે અને assessment પૂર્ણ થતા પહેલા પણ થઈ શકે. These are the various landmark judgment that will help in case of a delay of the furnishing in form number 9A and 10, or maybe in some of the cases in 10B. Many times they are asking, like professional brothers asking for the copy of the resolution. How to put the copy of resolutions in form number 9A and form number 10. These are the abstract of the resolution. For sample, I will share the entire slide for the benefit of my fellow professional brother as well as the stakeholder. These are the proforma for the fund amount, date, and so, and the manner empowering the filing of form number 10 and the investment in manner section 11.5. There are many old religious and charitable trusts which do not have a formally registered trust deed. This also came across many times. In the trust was established in year 1965, and they don't have any constitution, trust deed, or a memorandum. Now, in that circumstances, the registration under section 12AB can be denied. So there are the particular options available. An affidavit executed before the magistrate also is affixed in absence of a trust deed. If any revenue records relating to the lands, that also valid. Orders relating to assessment of property tax, that also valid. Affidavits, declaration, activity report, or the financial statements. These all are the documents on which you can obtain a registration under section 12AB in absence of your trust deed. Now, how to treat the donation in kind? These are also a very thin line interpretation and how to manage and deal with the donation in kind. For that, section 12(1) provides any voluntary contribution received by trust wholly for charitable or religious purpose will be deemed to be an income derived from the property held. By virtue of section 224, particularly 2A, donation will not be income for purpose of section 11. Section 12(1) does not specifically exclude contributions in kind. International activity I am not touching, but if you fall falling under this in particularly international activity, then form number 10B and BB, which one is applied, that we will take care of this later on. But when you for attainment of the objective of activities, if trust is spending some expenditure outside India, then what will be the treatment? So income tax is not, law is not restricting on the activities outside the country. However, it's not. Yes.
ધ્રુવીનભાઈ, સોરી ટુ ડિસ્ટર્બ યુ અગેન. અમને છે ને જે આવડાનું જજમેન્ટ છે સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટનું કે 20% વધારે બિઝનેસ રિલેટેડ એક્ટિવિટી હોય તો ટ્રસ્ટને એક્ઝમ્પશન મળે નહીં અને એની ઇન્કમ ટેક્સેબલ થઈ જાય. એની ખૂબ એ વિશે ખાસ માહિતી જોઈએ છે અમને, કારણ કે ચેમ્બરમાં અમને એ ટેક્સેબિલિટી ઊભી થઈ જાય છે એના કારણે. એટલે એ જજમેન્ટની ચર્ચા કરો તો કરવા વિનંતી છે.
Yes, definitely. We'll take care within 5 minutes. International activity we are not touching upon. Mere benefit to the members does not fall within 13(1)(c). ઘણા બધા કાસ્ટ અને ક્રીડ અને સ્પેસિફિકલી ઓબ્જેક્ટ વાળા ટ્રસ્ટો છે જે પર્ટિક્યુલરલી એ સેગમેન્ટને જ સ્પર્શી રહ્યા છે. તો આ એક્ઝમ્પશન ડિનાયલ થાય કે કેમ એ બાબતની ડિસ્કશન આમાં ખૂબ કરી છે. એમાં વન ઓફ ધી સુરત આર્ટ સિલ્ક મિલનું જજમેન્ટ સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટનું વેરી હેલ્પફુલ છે. In the following cases cannot be considered as a benefit. Particularly આપણે ચેમ્બર હોય કે ટેક્સ પ્રોફેશનલ બોડી હોય and particularly a memberના વેલફેર માટે કરતા હોઈએ તો can it be said that's the denial under section 13(1)(c). So these are the judgment in line of that. Vehicle in name of president/chairman of the trust. Can this section 13(2)(b) and 13(3) apply or not? So in my opinion, no point, because this vehicle is supposed to show in the books of account of the trust. Only the name is reflecting a president or a chairman of the trust in RC book. That is not the ground. Shares received as a gift or a corpus donation is not attracted by section 13(1)(c). Using credit card of trustee can be a ground for denial of exemption until and unless there is no violations of using of credit card. But if it is for the attainment of the objective, then I think so there is no point of the disallowing of the exemption under section 11. This also supported by the judgment. No bar to pay reasonable salary to trustee. Many times this also question raised in that context, whether the trustee is supposed to get the remuneration salary or not in that way. Reasonability of salary and specified person. Specified person, these are the list of section 13(3) of the specified person, author of the trust, HUF member, manager, then relative of the author, author, founder, person, member, trustee, manager, this all way. And relative that I told earlier, spouse of individual, brother or sister of individual, brother or sister and spouse of individual, lineal ascendant or descendant. These are the definitions of relative. Trust money held at the residence of the chairman. This also one of the judgment. If the money of the public trust is keeping at the place of the chairman, whether it is a contravention in light of section 13(1)(d) or not. So investment made are not in specified mode hit by the section 13(1)(d). So we need to also mention the place of residence is not covered by section 11(5). So for some normal case for the day-to-day transaction may be an exceptional case, but keeping a money at the home of the chairman, it's a completely a violations and hit section 13. Trust money held, expenditure income for defending a criminal case of a specified person. કોઈ ટ્રસ્ટમાં litigation ચાલતા હોય, ટ્રસ્ટીનું litigation ચાલતું હોય તો એ ટ્રસ્ટીએ ટ્રસ્ટમાં ખર્ચ પાડી શકે. તો એક સપોર્ટેડ જજમેન્ટ છે અંદામાર્ગ પંચકર્મા સંઘમાં કે યસ એ સ્પેસિફાઈડ પર્સનના પ્રોસિક્યુશન્સ અને ડિફેન્ડિંગ માટે એ ઓફિસ બેરર કે કાં તો એને ડિસ્ચાર્જ કરી હોય, સેવા આપી હોય તો એવા સંજોગોમાં કરી શકે. I think so I have a 5 minute left, that what the time allotted to me. I have some series of questions in line of that. If specific questions I deal with, supposed to deal with, I may deal with, else I will continue for another 5-10 minutes.
નહીં, સ્પેસિફિક સવાલ મારો એ છે
જી
કે જો ચેમ્બર અમારું ચેમ્બર એ અત્યાર સુધી ટ્રસ્ટ તરીકે એસેસ થતું આવ્યું છે, પણ
જી.
એની 20% વધારે ઇન્કમ એ બિઝનેસ રિલેટેડ એક્ટિવિટી છે. અમે એક્ઝિબિશન્સ કરીએ છીએ અને એક્ઝિબિશન્સ માંથી આવક આવે છે. હવે
જી.
જો 20% કરતા વધારે ગ્રોસ ઇન્કમ થતી હોય તો
જી.
સમગ્ર ઇન્કમ ટેક્સેબલ થઈ જાય, એ પ્રશ્ન છે આવડાના જજમેન્ટ પછી,
બિલકુલ બિલકુલ
કોર્ટના જજમેન્ટ પછી.
Yes, yes.
હવે એમાં પ્રશ્ન, હા, એમાં આપનું શું કહેવું છે?
Yes, you are very correctly defined. Okay, if the income, 20% of income is belonging to more than a business income, then the entire exemptions is not available in section 11 and 12 is concerned. Then liability on the entire income, it's not only 80% or a 20%. You are liable for the tax, the entire income. But you may crop up the things if you are demonstrating some exhibitions or maybe some business activity. You may restrict if you can manage from this financial year.
એમાં હવે પ્રશ્ન એ છે કે એમાં ખર્ચ કયા બાદ મળે? wholly done for the
ઇન્કમ અર્ન કરવા માટે જે કંઈ પણ ખર્ચ કર્યા હોય એ જ ખર્ચ બાદ મળે.
ના, પછી અમે અને જે પ્રવૃત્તિ કરવા માટે જે ખર્ચ કર્યો હોય તે બાદ નહીં મળે?
બધા જ બાદ મળે તમારે. when you are treating as a AOP, then all the expenditure relating to your earning income, you may get entire expenditure.
રાઈટ. હવે ત્રીજો પ્રશ્ન એ છે કે ધારો કે હવે મેમ્બરશિપ ફી, જે મેમ્બરશિપ અત્યારે અમે લાઈફ મેમ્બરશિપ લઈએ છે,
જી.
વેધર લાઈફ મેમ્બરશિપની જે ફી છે એ ટેક્સેબલ થશે?
જો ઘણા ટ્રસ્ટ એને કોર્પસ તરીકે ટ્રીટ કરે છે. સી લાઈફ મેમ્બર હેવિંગ એ એન્ડ્યોરિંગ
અમે
બેનિફિટ
પણ અત્યારે કોર્પસ તરીકે ટ્રીટ કરીએ છીએ.
મોસ્ટ બધા કોર્પસ તરીકે ટ્રીટ કરે છે અને કોર્પસ એ સેક્શન 11(1)D પ્રમાણે એક્ઝામ્પ્ટેડ હતું જો ટ્રસ્ટ હોય તો. પણ જો સામાન્ય રીતે 11 અને 12 ન કન્સિડર કરવાનું હોય તો આ એમાઉન્ટ તમારી કેપિટલ રિસિપ્ટ છે. હું માનું છું એના પર ટેક્સની લાયબિલિટી કોઈ ના આવે.
એમાં સ્પેસિફિક ડાયરેક્શન જોઈએ કે એવું ખરું કે નહીં?
Because this is a capital receipt. A tax is levy on the revenue, it's not on the capital receipt.
ઓકે. એઓપી ના, એટલે એઓપી તરીકે ટ્રીટ થઈ ગયું તો પણ એ કેપિટલ રિસીટ ગણાશે?
100% એ capital receipt જ ગણાશે.
ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ.
Any other question I supposed to address?
હેલો
જી.
સેમ જે અગ્રવાલ સાહેબે કર્યો સેમ વસ્તુ અહીંયા ક્રિકેટ એસોસિએશનમાં બી છે કે ઘણીવાર BCCI ની ટુર્નામેન્ટ્સ જે આપવામાં આવે છે એનો વધારો થતો હોય છે, જે મેમ્બરશિપ જે ફીઝ અને એની ઇન્કમ છે એના 20%થી વધારે આવી જાય છે. તો એ પણ ટેક્સેબલ થઈ જાય બિકોઝ ઇટ ઇઝ ફોર ચેરિટેબલ પર્પઝ ઓનલી. જે BCCI મેચ આપે એ મેચ રમાડવા માટે જ ફંડ આપતું હોય છે.
કરેક્ટ. એમાં છે ને ગુજરાત સ્પોર્ટ્સનું મેં જજમેન્ટ રિફર કર્યું હતું મેં મારી સ્લાઇડમાં.
રાઈટ
એ
રાઈટ
પર્ટિક્યુલરલી જો સ્પોર્ટ્સ એક્ટિવિટી માટે હોય તો એ પર્ટિક્યુલરલી સેક્શન 11 કે 12 ડિનાયલ ન થઈ શકે. એ એક્ઝામ્પશન તમારું કન્ટિન્યુ જ રહે બીકોઝ યુ આર એક્સક્લુઝિવલી એન્ગેજ ઇન ધ સ્પોર્ટ એક્ટિવિટી, નોટ ઇન અધર ઓબ્જેક્ટ.
અને ધારો કે ગ્રાઉન્ડ જે એક્સ્ટ્રા ગ્રાઉન્ડ હોય એ ક્રિકેટ માટે જો ભાડે અપાય તો એ બિઝનેસ ઇન્કમ તરીકે ટ્રીટ થશે કે ચેરિટેબલ? કારણ કે અલ્ટિમેટલી તો એ ક્રિકેટ માટે જ ભાડે અપાય છે.
Correct. That is an ancillary activity for the attainment of the main activity. So that cannot be construed as a business activity.
અને ધારો કે એ ગ્રાઉન્ડ મેરેજ માટે અપાય તો બિઝનેસ એક્ટિવિટીમાં આવી જાય, રાઈટ?
Because other than તમારા મેઇન ઓબ્જેક્ટની સાથે કનેક્ટેડ નથી એટલા માટે.
Okay, thank you. There are so there are some general questions, sir.
Please.
Just I'll go through it. Myself, CA Mayank Desai, I'm a co-chairman for Income Tax Committee here. CA Rahul has said from Maharashtra, so try to cover BPT Act 1950 provision also wherever applicable. Please write. It's okay. Rahul, you can connect with sir directly.
Today's subject is a taxation under the income tax.
Right.
That's why I have not taken up.
Yeah, so it's okay. He can connect with you directly. So આશીષભાઈ વકીલ છે અમારા વાઇસ ચેરમેન સાર્વજનિક એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી. What is to be kept in mind when CSR grant donation is received? Is special ledger required for CSR fund received and amount spent, or it can be merged with general ledger?
See, whenever the multiple activity, even in case of a business or maybe a CSR grant or maybe some other activity, then it required to get a separate books of account, separate bank account, as well as the separate ledger account. So you need not to collaborate each activity and each expenditure each other, but you have to maintain a separate income recognition as well as the expenditure separately for the particular activity only. And even for the CSR grant is concerned, because CSR, if you are consuming the expenditure, then you have to issue also a certificate for that. So for that you need to even otherwise separate ledger account, books of account and bank account.
Okay. Another question is also from the same gentleman. Form number 10 BD માટે છે. CSR grant, if a trust receives CSR fund to be applied on specific project, whether it is required to be reported in form 10 BD. Another question in the same corporate, some corporate deduct TDS, some does not on payment of specific project CSR payment. Donation in kind. How to evaluate donation received in kind, especially received used articles? Donation in kind is not eligible under section 80G. However, form 10 BD asks for donation in kind. Please enlighten.
Yes, very, very correct. I am dealing with the last questions that 80G is not applicable in case of a in donation in kind. Yes, form BD is also talking about the donation in kind. That was many representation in respect to that we have made, but there is no point to mention any detail in respect of donation in kind in form number 10 BD, because there is no point for the recognitions of the donations in form number 10 BD. Those who want to claim 80G, that is not for the entire receipt or entire income to be mentioned in form number 10 BD. CSR and 80G is
ના CSR ની વાત નથી કરતા. હું તો જુદો પ્રશ્ન છે. હું ચેમ્બર ઓફ કોમર્સની દ્રષ્ટિએ વાત કરું છું કે અમારી મેં કીધું એક્ઝિબિશનની ઇન્કમ 20% કરતા વધારે છે, તો પછી હવે અમારે 12AA મેળવવાનો પ્રશ્ન રહેતો નથી ને એમ?
ના, તમારે રહેતો જ નથી. ઇવન અધરવાઇઝ તમને નહીં મળે એવું છે.
રાઈટ, ઓકે.
Sir, another question.
ભૂતકાળમાં લીધો નથી?
ભૂતકાળમાં લીધું નથી.
ના, ભૂતકાળમાં અમારી પાસે રજીસ્ટ્રેશન નંબર નહોતો, પણ બધા એસેસમેન્ટ બધા ટ્રસ્ટ તરીકે થયા છે.
તો પેલું મારું તો મેં તમને જજમેન્ટ બતાવ્યું કે તમે રિટ્રોસ્પેક્ટિવ તમારી પાસે નંબર હોય અને તમારું એસેસમેન્ટ થયું હોય, તો હેવિંગ એ રીઝન ટુ બિલીવ કે ધેટ યુ વેર રજિસ્ટર્ડ અંડર ધી ઓલ્ડ રિજીમ ઓફ સેક્શન 12AA.
હા, વી વેર.
તો પછી તમે 2022 જે ન્યૂ રિજીમ આવી એમાં કેમ તમે કન્વર્ટ ના થયા?
નહીં, 2022 નવી રિજીમ આવી તેમાં અમે અરજી કરી, એમને પ્રોવિઝનલ મળ્યું, પણ
કેટલા વર્ષનું મળ્યું?
ના, 6 મહિના માટે મળ્યું. પણ પછી શું છે, જે કોઈ પણ એક કાયદા હેઠળ રજીસ્ટર થયેલું હોય તો જ એને મળે. એટલે અમે એઓપી તરીકે અત્યારે છીએ, એટલે અમને મળી શકે એવું નથી. અને બીજું પ્રશ્ન છે કે મળે તો પણ હવે જો બધી ઇન્કમ ટેક્સેબલ જ થવાની હોય.
વેરી કરેક્ટ. હવે there is no point.
હા, there is no point.
There is a no. There is a no point to get it registered under 12AB now.
Exactly right. हाँ जी.
Sir, another question is from CA Rajendra Gandhi. Trust registered in 2015, 12A were already granted, having applied for ATG in 22-23. Is CIT exemption denied / reject ATG application? Question.
No, એટલે reject કરવાનું, I don't think so. There is no point of rejection, because when you earlier registered in 12A, then automatically the registration 12AB granted in that circumstances. And ATG, whether you have obtained earlier ATG or not, Mr. Rajendra Gandhi?
Rajendra Bhai, if you are here, then if you can say. Rajendra Bhai Shah? Anyways, we'll get back to you. Another
ATG
question.
એમને પ્રોવિઝનલ મળે કારણ કે 12 એ જ એમને લીધું હતું ભૂતકાળમાં. એમને ભૂતકાળમાં એટીજી નતું લીધું એટલે ફક્ત એટીજી ની પ્રોવિઝનલ લઈ અને પછી એમને એક્ટિવિટી કર્યાના રેગ્યુલરમાં કરવાનું થાય.
Okay. Another question from Mr. Shailesh Patel. Donation received for specific purpose and that purpose is not capital expenditure. Is this donation corpus or not?
See, you are talking about income or expenditure. Donation received for specific purpose, that considered as a corpus.
Yes.
That purpose is not capital expenditure. The purpose is not significant. When the revenue is recognized as a capital receipt, that is specifically exempt under section 11 only.
Yeah. Another question from Mr. Amrut Patel. Corpus fund cooperative bank ma or credit society ma muki shakai?
Credit society is not covered, but yes, cooperative bank ma muki shakai. Section 11(5) ma RBI na adhikrit scheduled bank અને listed bank ની અંદર તમે 11(5) માં રોકાણ કરી શકો. એટલે that covered a cooperative bank, but not credit cooperative bank.
Another question from Mr. Ishwar. Caste based charitable trust property rent કે hall rent કરીને for social purpose આપે છે તો taxable કહેવાશે?
In light of the recent judgment for the letting out the property of community hall, this considered as a business income and the taxability in accordance with section 164(2).
Okay. Another question from Mr. Mukesh Thakkar. What is the legal requirement for establishing a professional network or education group that collects membership fees from its members? Should the group be registered under specific legal structures such as AOP, oblique trust or any other entity? What is the taxability of such organization?
જો તમે AOP કરશો, if you like forming an AOP, then definitely the tax will attract accordingly. I suggest that to form a Society Registration Act, one society for the betterment of the enhancement of the knowledge to the members. In that case, the exemption under section 11 and 12 apply, and then there would be no impact of the taxability in the receipt of the membership fees is concerned.
Okay. One simple question. Which ITR need to be filed for section 8 company?
Section 8 company that also covered ITR 7.
No. Which ITR number to be filed?
ITR 7. ITR 7.
Okay. What are the Tejas Gandhi no che? What are the consequences if application of obtaining permanent registration is not filed within 6 months of commencement of activity where the trust has obtained provisional registration for the first time?
Exactly. I discussed at the time of my slide. See, these are the very draconian position because they have not applied within the 6 months and the competent authority has no power for the condonation of delay in that circumstances. Means you cannot like eligible for the exemption under section 11 and 12 in that case. But the recent amendment of the budget 2023, Finance Act 2023, that says that you may apply from 1st October 2023. Not meanwhile, the commencement of section 12AB till the date. આજે એમને 2 વર્ષ પછી જ્ઞાન ધોરાયું કે આ જૂના ટ્રસ્ટો હતા એ ટ્રસ્ટો 12AA માં રજીસ્ટર્ડ હતા, એ લોકોની એક્ટિવિટી ઓલરેડી ચાલુ થઈ ગઈ છે, તો એને 6 મહિનાની એક્ટિવિટી કેવી રીતે ગણવાની? એ તો છેલ્લા 40 વર્ષથી સ્કૂલ ચલાવે છે. હાઉ કેન વી સે ધેટ કે એક્ટિવિટી કમેન્સમેન્ટ થઈ ગઈ? એ તો ડે 1 થી જ કમેન્સમેન્ટ થયેલી હતી. એટલે these are the very draconian provision in my opinion and a very burning issue because this delay condonation have no power with the competent authority to grant a delay after a 6 months. In that circumstances, your exemption will like lose under section 11 and 12.
Yeah, Dhruven bhai, thank you very much. હજુ ઘણા બધા questions છે પણ
I'm ready.
Yeah, you are ready, but time no થોડું limitation છે પણ apart, from your all these presentations, I can always say to all professional colleagues કે charitable trust ને charitable નહીં ગણીને professional charge કરજો fees, otherwise you will be in trouble. Thank you so much for enlightening us.
Fine, thank you.
Hello, hello. The question answer sessions conclude. I hope all participants learned from today's webinar on the subject of contemporary issues and recent changes in taxation of charitable trust under the Income Tax Act 1961. I sincerely thanks on behalf of SGCCI and other professional association for today's learned speaker Advocate Dhruven Shah sir, for sparing his valuable time and share his views with us. Now may I request to the All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant Association President Advocate Hiren Vakil sir to say a few words about webinar.
Thank you, Dipesh bhai. On behalf of All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant and all co-associations, I must congratulate learned faculty, Advocate Dr. Dhruven Shah, who is also a past president of our All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant, for his ability to explain the law and subject. Friends, an advocate is one who can pursue his matter to accept what he submits is the law, either before judge or before administrative authority or before the audience. And Dhruven is having this ability. Contemporary issues પણ સિરાની માફક ગળામાં ઉતારી દે. I think full marks to faculty and organizers for organizing such a wonderful webinar. Once again, I thank Dhruven and one and all for participating in this webinar. Thank you all. Thank you, Dhruven.
Thank you.
Over to Dipesh.
The Southern Gujarat Income Tax Bar Association Surat Vice President Advocate Kulin Pathak sir to say a few words about webinar.
Thank you, Dhruven bhai, for accepting our invitations and enlighten us and the entire stakeholders for covering each and every aspects, whether it is small or big or images or in whatsoever manner. But you have, of course, the subject very nicely. ધ્રુવન ભાઈ, તમે ફરી ત્રીજી વાર તમે પૂર્વા કરી દીધું છે કે ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટ માટે કે ધ્રુવન ભાઈના શબ્દો સાંભળવા જોઈએ.
Thank you for
હવે હું નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ બીજું તમને કહું છું, ખાસ પ્રોફેશનલ બ્રધર્સ માટે આપણે ટેક્સેબિલિટી ઓન ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટ પર આપણે એક રાખીશું સેમિનાર કે ભાઈ વોટ એવર ટેક્સેબિલિટી ઓફ ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટ એન્ડ ધ ઇમ્પેક્ટ ઓફ ધ લેટેસ્ટ જજમેન્ટ. એટલે એની પર આપણે જો કરી તો માટે તમારો એકવાર પાછો અમે લઈશું. વધુ સમય ન લેતા આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર અને ઓલ ધ પ્રોફેશનલ્સ વતી અને આપે જે નાના નાના પોઈન્ટ્સ જે કવર કર્યા છે, નાના નાના પોઈન્ટ્સ પણ જે રિટર્ન ફાઇલિંગ ના હોય કે ટેક્સ ઓડિટ ના હોય કે રિટર્ન ફાઇલિંગ ફોર્મ્સ ના હોય, એ બધા મેટર અમે કવર કર્યા છે. હવે સબ્જેક્ટ એટલો મોટો છે કે બધું તો કવર થવાનું નથી, પણ યુ હેવ ટ્રાય યોર લેવલ બેસ્ટ એન્ડ ડેફિનેટલી યુ પ્રૂવ ઇટ. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Income Tax Bar Association Honorary Secretary CA Sridhar Shah sir to say a few words about webinar.
Thank you, Dipesh bhai. આ લેક્ચર માટે કદાચ એટલું જ કહી શકાય કે આ લેક્ચરને છે ને જે રેકોર્ડિંગ હોય ને સેવ કરી રાખવાનું, કારણ કે આ રેડી રેકનર બની જશે આપણા માટે. એટલા બધા 4 વર્ષથી ચેન્જીસ આવી રહ્યા છે ચેરિટેબલ ટ્રસ્ટમાં, અને ધ્રુવનભાઈ એટલું ઇઝીલી એટલું સ્મૂથલી આપણને સમજાવ્યું. ગઈકાલે એમની જોડે મને બી જવાનો મોકો મળ્યો હતો ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટમાં, અને જે ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટ સાઈડથી જે ઇશ્યુઝ રેઝ થયા હતા એમણે આને પણ બહુ સરસ રીતે આપણા સેશનમાં વણી લીધા છે. તો થેન્ક યુ ધ્રુવનભાઈ ફોર સચ અ વન્ડરફુલ વેબિનાર એન્ડ શેરિંગ નોલેજ. બહુ ડીપ સબ્જેક્ટ છે, બટ તમે એકદમ લ્યુસિડ બનાવી દીધો, અને ઇન ટ્રુ સેન્સ તમે ડોક્ટરેટ કર્યું છે સબ્જેક્ટમાં. યુ હેવ તમારા રગ રગમાં આવી ગયો છે આ સબ્જેક્ટ એવું લાગે. થેન્ક યુ.
Thank you, sir. Chartered Accountant Association Surat Secretary Sri Lalit Hirpara sir to say a few words about webinar. Please unmute, sir.
Unmute, sir.
થેન્ક યુ ધ્રુવેન સર, તમે બધા પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ્સ માટે અહીંયા જે હાજર છે એ માટે તમે અહીંયા હાજર રહ્યા બધાને ફ્રોમ બિગિનિંગ ફ્રોમ રજિસ્ટ્રેશન, ઇન્કમ ટેક્સ રિટર્ન, રિપોર્ટ્સ, ફોર્મ્સ, પછી ડિનાયલ ઓફ એક્ઝમ્પશન્સ, પછી વેરિયસ કેસ લોસ અને પ્રેક્ટિકલ જે પ્રોબ્લેમ્સ વિથ એક્ઝામ્પલ અને જે કેસ લોસ તમે બતાવ્યા અને ક્વેશ્ચન આન્સર જે પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ્સના હતા એને તમે એડ્રેસ કર્યા છે ખૂબ સરસ રીતે. એકચ્યુઅલી આ ટ્રસ્ટનો જે ટોપિક છે એ ખરેખર ખૂબ મોટો છે. 2 કલાકની અંદર કવરઅપ કરવો ખરેખર અઘરો છે. તમે પ્રેક્ટિકલ આસ્પેક્ટ્સ ઉપર ડાયરેક્ટ જઈને બધાને માર્ગદર્શન આપ્યું એ બદલ આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. અને બધા એસોસિએશન સાથે મળીને જે પ્રોગ્રામ કર્યો છે એના માટે બધા એસોસિએશનનો પણ ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. થેન્ક યુ. ઓવર ટુ યુ દીપકભાઈ.
Thank you, sir. Now, last part of the agenda. Now, may I request to the co-chairman of SGCCI Income Tax Committee, Mr. Dhruven Shah, sir, please propose vote of thanks.
Good evening, all. On behalf of SGCCI Surat, I am CA Dharmesh Tamakwala, heartily thankful to the today's speaker, sir, Advocate Dr. Dhruven Shah, for accepting our invitations and share their views on such a useful topic. Recent changes in taxation of charitable trust in a lucid and simple manner. He also covered all the areas. Just our other panelist says that every area of the trust has been covered in given time. We are really thankful, Speaker, sir. We are also thankful to various associations whose representatives and members are remain present till the end. We are thankful to SGCCI, even office bearers spare their valuable times. More than this, Anil Bhai already said that we had already conducted more than 70 webinars in such a taxation series, income tax, our income tax committee. So we are really glad to invite Dhruven sir one more time to, just like Kulin sir says, specifically return filing and taken care for return filing exactly in the case of trust. So because many of the chartered accountant and also tax practitioner avoid to taking case of trust and refer back to specialized chartered accountant and others. So we expect one more inning from you. And we are also thankful to all the participants who are remain present till the end. And thank you one and all remain present. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Webinar concludes, sir.